Welcome to Fazza Love Poem. Subscribe now. I try sometimes, in quiet moments, to imagine a world without her, but it collapses before the thought can even finish. What would mornings be without her light? The sun would rise, but it would rise hollow, without warmth, without meaning. The sky would stretch open, but it would be a sky without color, a canvas erased of beauty. Birds would sing, but their notes would sound empty, like echoes in a hollow chamber. My steps would still move forward, but they would carry no purpose, no destination, no joy. Even the smallest things, the way the breeze brushes across my face, the way the earth smells after rain, would lose their essence. For she is woven into everything, so deeply, so perfectly, that to take her away is to take away the world itself. I realized then, she is not beside life, she is life. I cannot imagine a day, a breath, a heartbeat, without her presence. She has become the only definition of existence. A world without her would not simply be empty, it would be unbearable. The silence of the night would be heavier than stone, pressing against my chest, suffocating in its weight. Stars might still shine, but they would no longer speak. The moon might still rise, but it would be nothing more than a pale shadow, a ghost of light with no story to tell. I would walk under the same heavens, yet feel no wonder, no belonging, only distance. And the hours, how they would drag, endlessly stretching into meaningless space. Without her laughter, there would be no melody to sweeten time. Without her smile, there would be no dawn to chase away the dark. Even my reflection would not look like me anymore, because she is the reason I recognize myself. To imagine life without her is to imagine a void, so deep it swallows everything, a desert without end, a night without a single star to guide me home. I think of the small unspoken things, how she fills them with life, without even trying. The way she turns silence into peace, rather than emptiness. The way she makes the world softer, gentler, simply by being within. Without her, even laughter would feel wrong, brittle, as if it could break in my throat. Without her, words would lose their sweetness, becoming dry, meaningless syllables. I imagine sitting in a crowded room, surrounded by faces and voices, but feeling utterly alone, because the only presence that matters is missing. What is the worth of company when her absence has already hollowed me? What is the worth of days when they cannot carry her name? I realize quickly that a world without her is not just a place without beauty, it is a place without soul. The earth may still turn, but it would turn cold, and I would be a shadow walking through its lifeless corridors. Without her, memories would turn to grief, each one I hold so dearly now. Her voice, her eyes, her touch would twist into reminders of what I have lost. Even the happiest moments would sting like salt upon wounds, because joy without her presence is nothing more than pain wearing a mask. I imagine holding a photograph, a captured moment, but instead of warmth, it burns with absence. The echo of her words would haunt me, not comfort me. Every place we touched together would be a ruin, a haunted ground filled with ghosts of love that refused to fade. Without her, the past itself becomes a torment, the future becomes a void, and the present becomes unbearable. I cannot imagine walking through such a world. To love her is to have bound myself to her in every direction of time, past, present, and future. To lose her would not just break me, it would erase me entirely. Even nature would mourn her absence. Flowers would still bloom, yes, but they would look lifeless, like painted imitations of beauty. Rivers would still flow, but they would carry no song, only endless movement without meaning. Winds would still sweep through trees, but they would not whisper her name, and so they would be only noise, not music. Without her, even the seasons would lose their essence. Spring without her would be colorless, summer without her would be heat without joy, autumn would be nothing but decay, and winter would be endless, merciless cold. for she is the one who breathes life into life, who turns every ordinary thing into wonder. Without her, existence is reduced to mechanics. The world may function, but it would not live. I cannot imagine such a prison of survival without her spark. To live in a world stripped of her presence would be to live in an endless exile from meaning. When I close my eyes and think of her absence, it feels like standing on the edge of a cliff, with nothing beneath me, no ground, no sky, only endless falling. That is what the world would be without her, a free fall without end, without anchor. I would wander through days like a man without a heartbeat, alive in appearance, but hollow in truth. Smiles would no longer belong to me, joy would no longer find me, even prayer would feel unanswered. Because what is prayer without the soul that gives it meaning? She has become that soul. To remove her from this life is to remove the reason for every word, every dream, every hope. And so I cannot imagine it, not fully, because to do so is to destroy everything. She is not just someone within my world. She is the world itself. Without her, nothing stands. Without her, nothing breathes. I think often of how people say love can fade, how hearts can move on. But in me love has not faded. It has deepened into something unshakable, something eternal. She is not just love anymore. She is the structure of my very being. Without her, I would crumble. Without her, I would no longer know how to stand, how to walk, how to exist. She is in the way I think, the way I speak, the way I dream. She is the invisible thread holding me together. Remove her, and I am nothing more than fragments scattered in the wind. The world may tell me to endure, but endurance without her is meaningless. Survival without her is emptiness, disguised as life. I do not want a world without her. I cannot imagine one, not because my mind refuses, but because it is impossible. She has already become inseparable from life itself. Everywhere I turn, she is there. In the air I breathe, in the light I see, in the silence I rest upon. She is not an addition to the world. She is its essence. Without her, colors dim, sounds dull, warmth fades. Without her, I am not myself, because she has become the very rhythm of my heart, the compass of my soul. To imagine life without her is to imagine a heart, still beating but no longer alive, a body moving, but no longer existing, a story written but without words. She is the ink, the page, the hand that writes. Without her, there is no story at all. I have lived with her so deeply that the thought of separation feels like erasure. And so I say again, I cannot imagine a world without her anymore, because that world does not exist, cannot exist, will never exist for me. She is everything, and without her, there is nothing. And in the end, my heart knows the truth. She is not just part of my life, she is my life. The idea of her absence is not just painful, it is impossible, for she is the air I breathe, the ground beneath my steps, the light in my vision, the pulse in my chest. She is love, but more than love, she is existence itself. Without her, every star would burn out, every ocean would dry, every dream would collapse into dust. Without her, time would lose meaning, eternity would lose purpose, and I would lose myself. She came into my life as something fragile and beautiful, but she stayed as everything I know, everything I am, everything I will ever be. I cannot imagine a world without her anymore, because such a world cannot exist. She is the center, the heartbeat, the forever, and my love for her is not just bound to this life, it is bound to existence itself.